Should you be starting an AI automation agency? And I'm pretty sure this is not the first video that you're watching. So let's dive into this, right? So, what is an AI automation agency? So, it's basically an agency with people where you're focusing on automating routine tasks for an organization. And why are you doing that? Because companies have a lot of headcount, companies are not able to leverage and scale, and they're actually firing a lot of people because AI can do the same work for a lot less money. So that's where an AI automation agency comes in. You step in and you automate their entire workflow. So the workflow could be anything. It can either be customer support, it can either be accounting process, it can either be billing, invoicing, scheduling, or what I'm currently doing is automating interviews. So you really have to focus on these kind of pain points that companies and enterprises have. And if you're just starting out, it's nearly impossible for you to know what a real problem is. And I know this because I've already exited an AI startup, and I've gone through the entire process of starting off a company from scratch and then exiting that for around $30,000. For $30,000 when a firm in SF bought it, right? So I know how this works, and I've been through all of these. So because if you're just watching all these videos on YouTube, you really don't know what the problem is. There is depth to it, right? And I really encourage that you really just go and work at a startup or work at a company just to know what the major problems are. Because if you don't know what the problem is, you really can't solve for it, right? And now I'm just giving you an example of this is a productized service where I'm automating the whole hiring and screening process for companies. And this is not it's not an agency. This is a SaaS product. But this is a problem that I found, so that's why I was able to do it. I mean, if you can also actually do this in an agency format as well, but then product is easier to scale. So first you have to identify the problem, and for that you have to face the problem. All right, so now let's get to another point where my startup, like I'm talking about, I'm also doing a productized a proper product that I'm working on, and I'm completely working solo. So I'm just thinking, should I be even starting an agency as well by myself? Because I am really good at content now. I can also do Node.js, Python, and all of that. So why don't I also start an agency? But I don't want to distract myself too. So I'm just still figuring out how to do this because I've done an agency before back in 2019. It was a very small agency. I can replicate the same playbook. I mean, of course, there are a lot of things have changed, but now we can really automate a lot of things. All right. So now let's get into competency, right? So there is competency also. That means like you need to know how to do it. You can't just say, hey, I'll set up an agency, I'll get a client, I'll outsource this to some guy I know, some developer guy I know, and then I take I give him a percentage and then I keep the rest. It's just so beautiful on paper, you know. That's how agencies work, but that's really not how it works. That can happen only when you have the clout, when you are big enough to do so. Because now when you're starting off, you don't have trust. You got to build the trust first, and then you can do all that. So for this, you really have to go hands-on, and I really encourage you to just go on ChatGPT, take a premium GPT-4, or just go to Claude Sonnet and just chat with it. Just say, hey, how do I build a chatbot? And you actually build a chatbot. I'm just challenging you to really just go and build a chatbot, because this is the minimum of minimum. And trust me, chatbot is nothing. There are so many templates like WordPress. There's so many templates on GitHub. All you have to do is just copy paste all of those and then replace the env file, which is basically environment variables. That's just your API keys. You just replace that with your actual API keys, and then boom, the chatbot starts working. You just play around with the interface, and then the chatbot's there. That's the thing. It's so simple to build, and if it's so simple to build, anyone can build it, of course. But now with this, you have to be offering some kind of service. You have to solve a problem end to end, right? So right now the chatbot is there, amazing. Even ChatGPT is just a chatbot, but how is that helping the organization? So now what comes in is custom workflows and custom knowledge base. That means you're going to create this chatbot customized on just the knowledge base of your customer. And when you do that, they have a custom service. It can either be client facing, or it can be customer facing, or it can just be internal for them, right? So these are something that you have to figure out, and what most AI agencies offer is basically chatbot, workflow automation, consulting. But I really recommend you only start off with chatbot first, because I'm also thinking of the same thing, that I can really spin up a website super quick. So first thing, of course, you have to spin up a website, have a chatbot. And this is something I'd actually like to recommend you is when you have a chatbot, okay, right now, as you can see, this is my website, zavata.ai, and then there's a chatbot. So if you just chat with it, it is going to give you all the answers. It's trained on Zavata's knowledge base, all right? But this is actually not a custom chatbot. Like I said, I got around $400,000 of free credits. I applied for all of these, had to get in those. So I got like 6 months free of Zendesk. So Zendesk itself is a whole customer support application, and it was so simple to integrate. And you can see it's built with Zendesk as well. But again, you don't have to do that. You can build a custom chatbot and then give it to the client, because if you use Zendesk, that means the client will have to pay again for Zendesk. And if he can use Zendesk, why would he need you, right? So you have to focus on creating custom workflows, custom applications. And see, you should also understand it, because for my startup, I really don't need any kind of custom chatbot. I can just spin it off with Zendesk. And there are also companies that would not want Zendesk. They want it all in-house, or maybe outsource it to you and then build it through you, right? So that's very important thing, right? Thing there. All right. What else do we have to talk about? Yes. Also marketing. Marketing is the most important thing, because there are so many people starting off triple A's, like they call it. It's like the new SMMA, drop shipping, affiliate marketing, right? But don't listen to the gurus, right? Do not ever listen to the gurus, because if you listen to the gurus, your idols are basically Top G, Iman Kazi. These are the wrong idols to have, because you don't really know where their wealth came from, right? You just don't know where their wealth came from. Like, what did they build? And when you have a conversation with them, or when you see them having conversation, they don't have depth in a subject. So find people who really have depth in a subject. And these are actually small YouTubers. I'll give you that. There are these small YouTubers who can build a chatbot. They have tutorials to build a chatbot from start to finish. They have like 8 hours, 8 hour session, and then you have to finish that off. Build the chatbot, integrate that in your website, and then start cold emailing, start um, posting on Reddit, start posting on LinkedIn. And actually it takes a lot of time, right? It does take a lot of time. It takes around six months to get a proper client, right? I mean, people say, okay, get your first client in 7 days. I used to watch a lot of videos like that too, but practically speaking, that won't happen. So if you have a job, keep the job. If you really can't, if you have enough savings, if you have saved enough of the money, and you have a runway for, let's say, 6 to 8 months, then quit your job, immediately start this off, or maybe do something like a productized thing that I'm doing. I mean, product is also a big risk. It's a very big risk, because you don't really know if it hits product market fit. And I've seen other companies do it. I've seen other companies do it well, hit product market fit. But my product, I really have to work on that. Zavata, I really have to work on that. And once the product market fit hits, I'm telling you, it will blow up, like I said. So, I mean, a worst case, if nothing happens with Zavata, I just built an automation agency, because I have basically built everything. I know all the workflows, the templates, the code base, the knowledge. I have all of that. So all I already have to do is just make a different website and then start cold emailing, right? And let me give you another very important tip for cold emailing is there's instantly.ai. There are a lot of these platforms, but what I've understood is when you get into Microsoft Azure, so this is my dashboard. It's basically Microsoft for Startup Founders Hub, and I have like around 150K credits. So you can basically keep upgrading it. Right now, they just give you 5,000. You just have to finish all the tasks and then submit a request to upgrade it. That's easy to do. And now when you go on the Azure portal, you have so many layers, right? Because when you think of it, even Instantly was built on AWS or Azure. So right now you got to build your own Instantly. You got to build your own email marketing product in-house, and that's a lot of work, of course, because when you're starting from scratch, you have to build it by yourself, and you don't have to, because you don't have to pay subscription like 50 to 60 to $100 to an outside company, right? You don't have to pay instantly that. You can basically build your own product itself with a very shitty UI. It has to be functional. It has to send emails, right? So that's something. So to sum this all up, first you have to know what problems are, understand what problems are, and then have on in-hand experience. Build a chatbot, focus only on chatbots, and again niche down. Chatbots for what? Chatbots for real estate, chatbots for salons, chatbots for mom and pop stores, or chatbots for software startups, right? So you have to niche down even more, and then you find your sweet spot, and then you start off building. So that's what it is. Again, I think this thumbnail was just clickbait, like you say. There is no right time to start. There is no 2024, 2025. All of that is leave it with the gurus, right? The gurus talk about it. It's just you just start. That's all. You just build the startup, or you just build the agency. That's all. That's what it is. And then you just keep iterating, and then get your first client. When you get your first client, of course, you know the rest. So that's all from my end. Peace.